Hello and welcome to the Writing from the Womb podcast. I'm Sama Morningstar and I have Tiara with me here today. Thank you so much, Tiara, for joining me. I noticed that Tiara was posting about a collaborative book project that was very intriguing, and I'm loving interviewing our authors, fellow authors and writers. And when I reached out to Tiara about coming on and talking about the book project, it was a big yes. So here we are. And so, Tiara, please introduce yourself and share more about your book project and this process of writing from the womb and the whole idea of a collaborative book project, of a group of people coming together and writing a book together, feels like a very much of a womb centered practice of coming together in community and perhaps even caring for each other all throughout the process of publishing a book, which as a solo author, I'm over here feeling it and trying to gather my community in various ways. And I'm very intrigued by this collaborative book project option and possibility, and I keep wanting to talk to more people, and I've interviewed a series of people in various book projects, and I'm more and more intrigued, so I can't wait to hear more about it.
Yes, I'd love to share. And thank you so much for, accepting my proposal of joining you on this lovely podcast. I'm very thankful. So hello, everyone. My name is Tiara Sharde. I am a spiritual coach and goddess guide. I partner with women who are ready to reclaim the magic of goddess spirituality and the divine feminine principles in just 6 easy steps. I was invited by the lovely Danielle Ashe. We connected in Costa Rica. I was there really healing from the transition of my mother. So this is in divine alignment that I'm on your podcast talking about this. And she saw me, and we were just social media friends for a while. And I'm back here in the States, and I received an invitation from her to join this project. And, of course, I was a little nervous at first because it's a very vulnerable place to be in, to write your story. And, as you were saying, you know what that's like as an author. So I, I felt vulnerable, and I sat on it for a few days, and I decided, you know what, I'm doing this. I need to do this. This is a great way for me to heal. It's a great way for me to connect more to the divine feminine principle and the mother, the sacred mother, joining these group of beautiful women together, writing our stories, giving voice to our ancestors and helping to heal future generations. So I hopped on it, and it's been an amazing experience thus far.
Wow. So you were invited by a particular coordinator, and this is what I understand about these collaborative book projects, is that
Yeah.
there's somebody that gets an idea of saying, I want to do a book about this, and I don't want to write it alone. I'm going to invite people that I know are writing about this or talking about this to write a portion of the book, and we're going to coordinate it together. And usually there's a set structure. In the ones that I've heard about, each author pays a portion of the
Mhm.
cost for
Mhm.
coordinating this and setting up the editing, the formatting, the publishing, the marketing, and all of that. And so then that offsets the cost, because it's not like, yeah, self-publishing, you could just upload, it seems like you should just be able to upload a document onto Kindle or whatever, but actually it's a lot more involved than that. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can do it that way. I got some help from family members and did a book that way, but it doesn't really go anywhere, and the editing wasn't that great, the formatting wasn't that great, so I don't feel comfortable promoting it, right? So what
Mhm.
I'm learning about publishing is that it costs money, actually quite a significant amount. If you want to create a really beautiful book, you either have to learn how to do all that editing and formatting and do that put that time in yourself, which you might have to take a class to learn how to do all that, because there's a specific formatting and design. There's all this stuff about how to make a beautiful book that's a pleasure to read, right? And
Yeah.
then on top of that, then there's the marketing aspect of it and how to get your book on the bestseller list and all this stuff. So
Right.
some book projects include that in the cost for each author to get in. So was this a book project that had all that built into it in that way?
Yes, yes,
Uh-huh.
great question. And it's a first for me. You know, I hear of collaborative book projects, but it was my first invitation to one. So we're joining Flower of Life Press by Astara Ashley. And she's a woman from a completely different culture and background. And she decided, you know what? I feel like Black women's voices aren't heard. I really want to, you know, kind of work out a project where that can happen, where their voices can be heard. So yes, Daniel Ashley was really like the mastermind in kind of getting the women together. And we have a beautiful GoFundMe, Ancient Future Unity, GoFundMe.com. And our goal is $20,000, and we have 29 total women. So yes, the costs are is split up between us. And so far, we raised over $1,000 in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So it's gaining momentum, it's gaining shares, and we are set to publish around the new year.
Mm-hmm.
So I really am excited about this idea. I love that I am not alone in this endeavor. I have this beautiful group of women with amazing stories, and we're coming together, and it's really supportive. You know, we have our group calls. We just celebrated the new moon in Virgo together on group calls. So it's just this beautiful sisterhood, and it's so healing for me. I feel that if I didn't have them together, I might not have really decided to push forward and create this project. Yeah.
Wow. So from what you just shared, there's more information that I wasn't aware of. So it sounds like for this project, this is the first collaborative book project that I've heard of where there was, first of all, a focus on Black women authors. Okay.
Yeah.
Of bringing this together. Now, I've seen some of them where it looked like all the authors were Black women authors, but they didn't say, is yours, I think I remember yours having that title of Black women authors, or
Yeah.
at least a tagline um, where featuring Black women authors. And is there another part of the title with a topic? Because usually they're around a topic, but is that it? Is that the topic for this one? Is giving voice to Black women authors' stories?
Well, that is like the spotlight of it, but it's a beautiful title. It's Ancient Future Unity, Reclaim Your Roots, Liberate Your Lineage, and Live a Legacy of Love.
Oh my goodness.
So,
So
yeah,
much
like,
beauty.
whoa, right?
Yeah, whoa. And
Yeah.
then it says on there featuring Black women authors. Is that it?
Yeah, featuring the voices of 29 Black women. Yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
it's like a big deal, kind of, you know?
No wonder. I probably saw, I must have seen like a cover or like some kind of a poster or flyer that was created where you were sharing about it or someone was sharing about it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to talk to these women on the
Yeah.
podcast. So the other thing I heard you share, and this is the first that I've heard about these projects, is doing a GoFundMe campaign. Because normally the way it works is each individual author comes up with their couple $1,000s. So if it's $20,000 to fund the whole project, and there's 20 authors, that would be each person had to come up with $1,000, right?
Right.
Or this one, it's $20,000 and there's 29 authors, so it's less than that. But so that's a pretty good deal, because I've seen some of them where there's 10 authors and each person has to come up with $2,000 or something like that, right? So but what you're saying is that there's a GoFundMe campaign that's hopefully going to bring that cost down, depending on how much. I mean, if you make your 20,000 goals, does that mean that all the authors don't have to contribute anything out of their own pockets?
Yes, yes, great question. So, it's really, and this is why I like love this. It's a community-led book project.
Mm-hmm.
So literally the world decides, if that will happen, if the $20,000 is raised for this project to come together, which I think is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really taken off because, especially with today's climate and all that's happening, and on top of what's going on in the news, you also have this beautiful shift into the divine feminine and really bringing this beautiful balance onto the planet. So this is really big. People are wanting to support. They're wanting to be the change they want to see in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just right on time. It's divine alignment.
Beautiful. And so it sounds like you're getting all these contributions, and a GoFundMe with a publishing project basically means that you can make a contribution, but you can also just pre-purchase your book.
Right.
And
yes.
and oftentimes, and because I'm planning one for my upcoming book, oftentimes it also includes perks, like, okay, if you pre-purchase your book plus a bit more or even a lot more than the cost of the book, you'll get this additional perk. Maybe you get a signed copy, maybe you get free access to a VIP event, or maybe there's a course, an online course that goes along with it, or some kind of, more perks, or maybe there's some artwork, or maybe there's this, or maybe there's that.
Yeah.
And so the more you contribute, usually the more perks you can get. Some people want to contribute more just to support the project without getting a perk, and then they're just making a contribution. So wonderful. And you have 29 women that are all promoting this to get and probably more, because there's supporters that want, like me, that say, come on my podcast, and I'd interview every single one of those women a couple of times if need be.
Yes, that's incredible. And thank you for, inviting us on your podcast. And yes, absolutely. So whoever, donates to the GoFundMe, you receive a book. Mm-hmm. The minimum donation is $25. Mm-hmm. And as soon as the book is published, you get it delivered right to your house. It's yours. Mm-hmm. There's amazing perks. You can purchase multiple books and to support, and as many as you purchase, you receive, and you can collect them. You can pass them on to family and friends. Holidays are coming up, and so it's beautiful. It's a great thing.
Beautiful. Yeah. So I'm curious, and another piece of information which I haven't heard of about these collaborative projects. It sounds like you're meeting with everyone in the project on a regular basis to support each other through the process. And is Danielle leading those meetings or facilitating, or is it sort of more of a community co-facilitation, or how is that working?
The book does have a community. We have a Facebook group. We're very active in there. We post daily, really, most of us, sharing our stories, our journeys, our experiences, things that we may put in the book. And it's led by the star Ashley and Tiara Sharde. Mm-hmm. And it's really easy. It really feels like Soul Tribe. We've done this before. We've had to come together to really change the world before. And it's been this, this group of wombs, and we're just wanting to spread love and harmony, and we're doing it through a book. Mm-hmm. So we come together, we do our monthly meetings, the new moon, like I said, we did, and it wasn't even like a ritual, but it had that feel, that connection when you're connecting with your sister goddesses, and you have the same intention, and this beautiful future that you see, and you're coming together to really build it. So I love the community that comes with it. Lifelong connections are being built right now, which is incredible. Like I was saying in the beginning, healing womb trauma, healing the ancestral womb and the mother archetype, which is a major part of my work, is because I've had to go through that myself, the healing journey of that myself. Mm-hmm. So being with this group of women, it's just so nurturing and supportive in that way. It adds a completely different magical element to my healing that I wasn't really expecting, So yeah.
Beautiful. And I find too that kind of community is what many of us are longing for, and what is and the lack of that is part of our trauma, of our wounding, is
Yes.
the lack of that circle of sisterhood, of that multi-generational um, support system that
Yeah.
we're designed to live in. And yet the systems that we've somehow evolved into and created over the past number of millennia are so not conducive to healthy human life. And
Right.
part of that is because of the dismantling of that kind of circle of community, and the concentric circles of family to extended family to
Mm.
clan or tribe, to that is just this circle of protection around any particular individual. And then it's these overlapping circles, and pretty soon you have this geometry of the flower of life, where
Yeah.
all the overlapping circles surround the whole planet. And this is my vision for the healing, planetary healing, is the womb grid of the flower of life surrounding the whole planet, with each of us connecting the nodes. I'm geeking out over here, so just bear with me. But you can see it,
I
and each of us at the connection between these circles, and vitalizing these circles. And so your community circle is now touching and coming together and overlapping with my community circle, and everyone who supports your project has their community circle that they're sharing it in, and pretty soon we've got this beautiful flower of life. So wow, thank you. So in your group, so you're meeting regularly, you're sharing in your group online. Are you supporting each other with the writing process?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And
Yes.
what does that look like?
So in the group, and as well as in Messenger and things like that, we do share, like, hey, I have this idea, this has been coming up for me, and this week, like, maybe one of us had a tumultuous week and it triggered some childhood wounds, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, that's it, like, wow, I think this would be great to put in the book. Even just some videos that we'll find on social media, and it'd be like hugely impactful. We literally just had a meeting and we spoke about this, and now right after there's this video, so that will be shared in the group. So all of us could be like, oh my goodness, it's divine alignment, like we knew it. And just in case, one or two of us may have been feeling like, am I doing the right thing? Because we are really speaking from the heart in the womb space. We're being completely vulnerable. So we may hurt a couple people's feelings, as we're speaking our truth. So, and I find, there may be a moment of second guessing, like maybe I shouldn't write about that, but we're there for each other during that process.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if your writing gets you to feel like that, then you probably should put it in the book, just thinking about it from that perspective. So that's been hugely beneficial. And I'm pretty sure I would not have the opportunity to experience that if I wasn't in this community collaborative book project.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really thankful about that. And to speak to your flower of life, and the ripple effects of that. And I'm connecting with these women, and I'm like, wait, but you know her, and over there, and wait, I know them. Like, whoa, you went to Costa Rica too? You lived where? Like, and we actually kind of know each other. And one of the women made a post. I'm definitely gonna forget who created this, but we know each other. Was it you? I don't know, but we're 6 people away from each other. Each
Right.
other's circle. Was that you, or do you
I don't
know?
know. I don't know, maybe,
Okay,
but I know I'm familiar with the 6 degrees of separation, where
that's yeah,
you don't
yeah,
have to go far to find how we're connected. Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. So I'm curious, are you writing together? Like, do you plan times to say, okay, here's a writing prompt. Let's all write about this, or you know, like that, and then set time, 20-minute timer, and everybody writes, and then everybody shares what they've
Yeah.
written. You're doing stuff like that?
Yes, which I'm really excited about. So Danielle and Astara, they both have, you know, there are times where women can come together and write together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're just gonna huddle up, we're gonna light some candles, and we're just gonna write, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe throw some things out there, and which is really great. And I definitely scheduled my little powwow writing circle, sister writing circle, for that very reason. You know, to help pull out the story, and you have that safe space to tell your story. You know, and then you know, before it gets out into the world, you already have this beautiful family that can, you know, share your voice with you, celebrate you with you, has been a
Mm-hmm.
big part of 2020 for me.
Mm-hmm.
And in this project, I get to experience that, so I'm really lucky. I'm really thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like it's a really well thought out project. It's very inspiring to me, because I could see myself facilitating that. You know, I don't know if you noticed when you were checking out my stuff after we met, but I host 2 writing from the womb workshops per week. And I set those up for myself because I have these book projects that I'm supposed to write, and I'm over here trying to do it by myself, and it's not happening. And after COVID hit, suddenly everybody's doing their stuff online, and I discovered writing groups. The New York Writers Coalition is one that you might want to check out, that started offering their writing workshops online for very little or no cost. And they have 2 or 3 a day, 6 days a week available online. And that really jump started my writing process again. And they focus on, you know, you have a writing prompt, you have a time period to write, and then and they focus on creating safe space with the guidelines and everything, and then you can share what you've written, and you receive positive only feedback. Brand
Wow.
it's and it's beautiful, and that framework, and then you're hearing other people's writing as well. And my writing has improved and developed so much with that. And I wanted to take it a step further in my workshops and say, you know, what if our prompt is connecting with the womb and asking our womb wisdom what it is that we need to write about right now
Mm.
today, and sharing that. And I'm curious about your experience, because you talked about it being from the heart and from the womb, and I'm curious as to what your experience with your own writing and with the other women in your project. What makes writing from the womb as opposed to writing from some other perspective? And I'm curious about your experience of that.
Wow, what a beautifully deep, beautiful question. For me, writing from the womb is that authentic space, you know, without the filters, without society peeking in, telling me, you know, who I should be as a woman, what being a sacred woman means, and ladylike, and what being a daughter means, and an auntie, and all these things, all this stuff, all these labels. I get to really tap in and go deep within into that womb space and connect with her, you know, she's a consciousness, and speak from that space. You know, no filters, no lies. It's just me. And it's really liberating, you know. We have to be so many different things as women, I feel, and just expected to play a certain role all the time. And I feel like when I just go within into that womb space, I don't have to do that. I could just be like, you know, I cried today because I was just hurting a little bit. Somebody hurt my feelings. That's okay. But in that moment, I had to, you know, I had to toughen up and couldn't show myself. I couldn't be vulnerable in that space because, you know, women are emotional. We're not supposed to, you know. So in that womb space, I get to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that beauty of me connecting with my womb is reflected in this group of women, because we get together and we cry with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk and we mourn the transitions of our loved ones, and just letting go of toxic relationships or, quitting our jobs to fulfill our purpose, whatever it is for us, we come together in that collective womb space and we get our healing done like that. And it's beautiful. I feel like that's really where this entire planet is shifting into. We're all just going to walk into the womb space together. It's going to be led by amazing, beautiful women who just decided, this is what I'm here to do, so I'm going to do it. Unapologetic. And we're walking into that womb space together to heal and to, pave the way for future generations. I'm so excited.
Me too. I know from my own experience with when we write together and share what we're writing and share from that authentic place, that process alone is so deeply healing, because that voice is so often dismissed, devalued, not listened to, not recognized for the wisdom that it holds, for the medicine that it holds for us. And I feel that's the most essential voice that we need to listen to right now to turn, humanity away from self-destruction and back towards life regeneration and harmonious ecology with ourselves and the planet. And so the more people start to listen to that voice, and simply being in a group where someone's holding space for that voice to be validated, that alone is so healing. It just sends those ripples. You talked about ripples. Like as soon as that voice is heard, held, and validated from any one of us, and then in a whole group of 29 women whose voices are being heard, held, and validated, that's just sending ripples out through the world. It's giving me tingles all up and down my thighs. I'm telling you.
Yes. Yes. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And it feels like you're just, I was saying this to my niece, she's in college. I was like, I feel like this expansion, like this, I sense it within me, as you give voice to the womb, to the mother, to that beautiful divine feminine, you feel the pulse and the expansion, and it's connecting with the others, and we're all coming online, and it's amazing. So I feel like I'm floating out of body at times when it's happening, because it's just this ecstasy of unity, of harmony, of this vision of a beautiful world. And yeah, it's incredible. It's a natural high is what it is.
Yeah, I can see you're just glowing with the excitement about it. So, and it's contagious. I'm really just absorbing the inspiration. Of course, I generate my own inspiration, so I'm hoping to glow a little on you too about it.
Yes.
In support of this project. It's so amazing. So I'm so glad to hear. So, are there guidelines for? I mean, you've talked a lot about the kinds of things, the authentic things that are coming up for you as you're meeting, as you're participating in this group to share in the book. But that title had some pretty strong languaging as far as what the message is, what the main gist of the message that you're being encouraged to share is. Like, how are we going to bring the ancient wisdom that we all hold in ourselves and in our wombs? How are we going to bring this forth and deliver it and heal ourselves and our lineage and reclaim the wisdom of our lineage and deliver this to the world in a way that in words that can be understood and received by the readership, and deliver the medicine that's so necessary and so needed right now, for the world to shift gears, for humanity to get through and survive this crisis of that means the difference between surviving or meeting extinction as a species on this planet. I mean, we're really at a moment in time, and it's a long moment, we're looking at a couple hundred years here, but we really are being invited, and Mother Earth and all the powers that be are that are for life and for the survival of the human species are waking up in us and reactivating these codes of what generates life, and the womb is reactivating and calling us all to tell our stories and to deliver our wisdom to the world. And so I'm kind of answering my own question, but I would love to hear your telling of that. Like what are the themes? What are people? What is your group being? What's being evoked from your group as far as what's the gist? What's the message of the main message of this? All the stories that you're telling that are coming together to deliver this.
Yeah, fabulous question. So ancient future unity, reclaim your roots, liberate your lineage, live a legacy of love. So that's a powerful thing, right? How can it be delivered? And what's amazing is we have 29 different voices, 29 different ways of delivering that message. So that's beautiful. And we're all dynamic and different, come from different backgrounds. But what I do notice is kind of like this tone within the our circle as authors, as well as in society, right? We have this whole stigma of like the angry Black woman, right? Like, don't talk to her, she might yell at you, she's always mad, like why is she always sad, like what is this thing, where did she get it from? And it's really like this thing that's in us because of our ancestry, being, getting real personal, or continuing to be personal and vulnerable on this platform. So the women in my family, we had to be a little tough. We had to be hard. We had to protect ourselves. We've been through stuff, as women, period, and as Black women. Having, situations in society where there is racism, where there are these prejudices and these expectations, and we've had to hold it in a long time, for the sake of our careers, our role in our community, whatever it was. If we needed a job, we had to kind of just take it, hold it in, not say anything. So it created this energy within us, and it created this label, angry Black woman. All it really is just the beautiful Black woman who hasn't been heard, who felt like she couldn't talk, who has been through so much pain and trauma and just stifled voice, stifled throat chakra, that now she's just angry, she's bitter, nobody loves her, she doesn't feel loved, she doesn't feel supported. So as authors who are coming together on this project, we can give voice to that and say, hey, you just need to tell your story. You just maybe need to talk about it. That might be the first step. Mm-hmm. Just talk about it. So I love that this book is like an invitation to that. It's an invitation for us to speak on it, to speak about our ancestors, why there is that label, and also to invite society to see, like, this is the story behind that, just in case you didn't know. We're all just not choosing anger, we're not choosing that. This is the reason why this is here. And maybe one of us is going to speak to that. And how exciting, especially now. I keep saying that. It's just how things are coming together in society, and just how it feels, in our body, in our womb space. It's like, we know it's time. It's time for us to be heard. Black women, the womb space, the mother, it's time to give voice to that energy. And I'm super excited. I know that this is not, the first of its kind, and I know it certainly won't be the last. And I just, wish I could just zoom out and see the ripples, like, what does this all mean? Where is this going? Even in your work, I'm sure you're like, where is this all going? Like, I feel it, it's magical, but really, I'm excited.
Beautiful. And so, I wanted to mention a couple of things about anger, because, there's a stigma, there's a stigma about anger in general, especially from women, especially from Black women, that if somebody is angry, it's in our society, it's first of all terribly suppressed, and second of all, having that kind of strong emotional something going on is a way that's used to invalidate the voice of that person by labeling them an angry Black woman or an angry woman.
Yes.
Right? And that's just sort of built into our society. And what it sounds like your book is doing is saying, actually, there is anger here, and it's justified, and it is wise.
I love that.
Because in the title, you're talking about, offering these wisdom gifts to the world. And so I love that you talked about anger, because, that's a big part of the healing work that I do. A lot of womb ailments arise out of the suppression and stagnation of our wise anger. So what anger is a powerful energy that arises when we've been violated, exploited, mistreated, and when things aren't supporting our well-being and health and vitality in life. And so, yes, we are angry about the way that humanity has evolved, that mistreats, exploits, violates, and doesn't support the basic well-being of the majority of the human species, especially women, especially Black women. Okay, so our anger is a wise feeling that's trying to take care of us, and is trying to take care of everyone. Because if one person in the whole world is being exploited, violated, and not cared for, then no one is really truly being cared for. And so Black women's anger is one of the biggest sources of wisdom in the world today. And so I'm so glad that your book is giving voice to that, and letting that just be that, and be pure, and purely what it is. I'm going to tell my story, and these are the reasons why I feel this way, and letting that do all those things listed in the title. Right? Yeah. Letting the expression of that anger, the writing out the story with all the feelings involved in it, not just the anger, but the whole nuance, the whole range of feelings. It sounds like from that authentic place of, and that's the thing with womb-centered spirituality and healing. A lot of spiritual lineages espouse this idea that emotions are somehow a nuisance or a hindrance to our spiritual growth. Whereas womb-centered healing and spirituality says emotions are the center of our wisdom. And emotions are our wisdom guidance system that helps us to connect with the divine, and is not a hindrance to connecting with the divine, like many other spiritual practices talk about. And so emotions give us a map about what's healthy, what's aligned, what's, how to care for ourselves and each other, how to be in harmonious ecology with life and with the divine. And when we're having an emotional reaction to something, it's very likely wise. Yeah. Now, for so many millennia, that's been twisted and piled more and more things on top of each other, and it can take a minute of healing, or more than a minute, but in the in the grand scheme of things, it can take some healing to find those gems of wisdom when the emotions might have gotten so twisted and discombobulated because of all the trauma, right? And so the trauma healing feels so important. But I just want to say that this book is such a powerful first step of getting these voices out there, telling the stories in that supportive environment, and starting to feel for the wisdom. And that's my experience in my workshops of writing from the womb,
Yeah.
where, you know, the story comes out, and the way the story comes out starts to reveal this gleaming wisdom within every single scenario, and every single part of the story starts to glow with this wisdom. And the way that the person in the story, the character in the story, works their way through and finds their way to the other side of whatever hardship is just glowing with all of this wisdom. And so I just can't wait to well, first of all, to hear what else you have to say about this right now, but also to connect with these voices in the book.
Yeah, yes, well said. I really am excited about that, the emotional parts of it, because that's a part of my work. You know, I talk about feeling your emotions. Like, that's a good thing. Like, experience that.
Yeah.
Tap in. You're angry. Okay, feel it. Just sit with it for a while. Let it be. Feel it flow through your body. I feel like, and I love what you said about our spirituality and how it's so different. You know, with womb spirituality, goddess spirituality, divine feminine principles, we get in our body. We're not up here. We're not in our logic. That's not quite right. There needs to be that balance, and there's not at the moment. It's sorely needed. So we're ushering in this reclamation of getting into your body, getting heart-centered, getting womb-centered, and feeling what you feel. And I love that this is what this book is bringing. And to add to the anger, my personal adage to this book is to heal and to challenge women and people to heal with pleasure. You know, we have an opportunity to do that. You know, we're spiritual beings. We're in a physical vessel to feel, to taste, to touch, to smell. We've been healing in different ways. We've been maybe drinking a little too much, maybe emotional eating, which is something that I struggled with since childhood, and I work with clients who have the anger, the lack of confidence, things like that. Working through that so that we can get to this space together where we're free to love, where we're free to build and to have harmony. With me personally, like I was saying, the pleasure of it, of life, the joys, the giggles, the hugs, the scented candles. Like, can we heal with that now? I feel like we've just been so hard. You know, we've been so hard on ourselves. We've had all these expectations and assumptions and perceptions of stuff. Like let's just get rid of all of that stuff and like run a bubble bath and journal. You know, like get into the womb space. The womb space just wants to be loved and held and nurtured and give that back. So let's do that. Let's heal through that. So I'm presenting healing with pleasure, as well as our sensuality and our sexuality. Let's heal through that. Let's explore what sacred sexuality is, tantra, you know, the spiritual principles to sex. Let's talk about that and use it to help us heal. And maybe, you know, the woman is angry because she just really needs an amazing orgasm. You know, maybe she just needs to let her womb just, you know, blossom in that way. And maybe she's been stifled in that. Maybe she hasn't felt safe in that space, or felt like she couldn't be vulnerable in that space, or she was too dominant in that space. You know, whatever it is for her, I'm excited for the opportunity to explore that and to present that to the world. You know,
so will you be are you writing about your journey with those themes for this book as well?
Yeah, I will. And you know, the story is still unfolding, and I'm very kind of conscious about that. Like, I want the story to tell itself. I don't really want to just be micromanaging the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would definitely feature elements such as that, and also where my journey even came from, because it's not just my own. It's my mom's, it's her mom's, it's aunties, it's, you know what I mean? It's collective. It's just not ancestral, it's collective. So that story needs to be told within my personal individual story, and I want to honor that. So a lot of it is just kind of coming as I'm going for walks, or I'm making lunch, or I'm in the shower, you know, and I honor that and I jot it down and I bookmark it for later, and that's all going to be in the story.
Yeah, I just got guidance recently to purchase a couple of little pocket-sized notebooks and have them in my pocket as I'm going about my day to be able to pull it out and write something down if it comes up.
Yeah.
So I'm receiving your wisdom to nourish that practice for myself as well.
Yes, thank you. I love that it's red. I love that it's
That was
vibrant and lively. And
yeah, that was a
root
deliberate.
chakra, reclaim your roots. It's beautiful. It's in alignment.
Yeah, exactly. That was a deliberate choice there. Well, listen, we could probably talk on and on all evening here, but it's probably time to wrap up here. So if people want to reach out to you and connect with you and learn more about this book project and about your work, how can they do so?
Yes, thank you. Again, I am Tiara Sharde. You can definitely contact me through my website, tiarasharde.com. I am on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as Tiara Neo Sharde. I am currently in open enrollment for the Embodying the Goddess program. It is a 12-week program. I help women reclaim the magic of goddess spirituality and the divine feminine principles in 6 easy but super powerful steps. And it's impactful. We're on our second launch, and the students are doing amazingly well. I'm super excited about that. And if you go to tiarasharde.com, you find out more information about me and all of my work, as well as how to support the book project, Ancient Unity Feature. So, yeah.
Beautiful. And we'll put those links in the show notes here on both the audio and video channels, all the channels that somebody might be listening to this on. So thank you so much, Tiara. And listeners also know that if you want to learn more about writing from the womb and womb-centered healing, the Womb-Centered Healing Temple, which is the overarching organization that's supporting this podcast, you can go to wombcenteredhealing.com and learn all about what's going on there. So thanks again, Tiara. It's been a real joy to connect with you. And that's all for now. Until next time.
Okay, thank you so much.